Alcaraz's reaction after the incredible Davis Cup comeback. The Spanish tennis team achieved a historic feat this Sunday against Denmark. The team captained by David Ferrer came back from 0-2 down, something they had never done before, to secure a ticket to the Final 8 in Bologna, which will be held from November 18 to 23. Carlos Alcaraz, one of the absentees for this tie, spoke out on social media after the great effort of his teammates. "Let's go oh! Huge! Host of the world number 1. And indeed, the triumph of Spain's Plan B squad, with Jaume Munar as the highest-ranked player, allows Spain to fight for another Davis Cup. In addition, there is the possibility that this time they will be able to count on Carlos Alcaraz if injuries don't get in the way. These finals will be the last event of the season for the elite players who take part, since they will be held right after the ATP Finals, which is always the year's cherry on top. That means Alcaraz won't have to save himself for other tournaments, as he did this time, and can make the effort to extend his season a bit longer to represent Spain. Charlie, despite having multiple titles such as 6 Grand Slams, has not yet won a Davis Cup. In Italy, he will once again have the chance to do so alongside his teammates. This year it will be played in Bologna, a location that makes it easier for players competing in the ATP Finals to be there, since that tournament is held in Turin. The trip would be within the same country. Alejandro Davidovich, another who couldn't play the tie, although no reasons were specified, also reacted on social media to Spain's triumph. "Brutal, let's go," he commented. The man from Malaga, Spain's number 2, was also absent from the tie. Not even Marcel Granollers, the recent US Open doubles champion, who ended up injured at the New York Grand Slam, could play. In other words, Spain faced the tie against Denmark without the world number 1, Spain's number 2, and the best doubles player. Quite a significant handicap that players such as Pablo Carreño, Jaume Munar, and Pedro Martinez managed to overcome. The latter defeated Holger Rune in an epic match, after winning the decisive third-set tiebreak and forcing the 5th rubber. This is how the Davis Cup Final 8 will be, with the 8 countries, Argentina, Belgium, Austria, Germany, Czech Republic, France, Italy, and Spain, already qualified for the finals. All that remains is to see how they will be paired. To that end, a draw will be held next Wednesday, September 17, in the Piazza Maggiore of Bologna at 12 noon Spanish time. The nations will be divided into 2 pots, seeded and unseeded. What determines whether a country is seeded or unseeded is its position in the Davis Cup ranking. Therefore, the top 4, Italy, Germany, Spain, and France, will play against the bottom 4, Czech Republic, Argentina, Belgium, and Austria. The format will be knockout, with quarterfinals, semifinals, and the final. The model who sparks controversy between Alcaraz and Sinner, she dated both at the US Open. What began as a hallway rumor ended up becoming one of the most talked about topics in world tennis. And now, to the sporting rivalry between Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner, comes an unexpected twist, a model, leaked statements, and a triangle nobody saw coming. At just 22, Carlos Alcaraz is not only the heir to world tennis but also one of the most sought-after personalities by the press. His popularity, both on and off the court, has constantly linked him with names from show business, from Anna Mina and Aitana to Melody Peñalver or tennis player Emma Raducanu. However, this time the story seems different. Because, according to the latest revelations, the woman who may truly have stolen his heart is Brooks Nader, a 28-year-old American model. The news broke in New York during Fashion Week. It was there that Grace Ann, Brooks's sister, confirmed what until then had only been rumors. The rumors are true. Dating is a very vague term, but I know he's the man of the moment, she said, referring to Carlos Alcaraz. And with those words, the controversy quickly ignited. The detail is that, weeks earlier, another name had been on the table, Jannik Sinner. In a radio program, Brooks's sisters jokingly hinted that the suitor's surname rhymes with winner, which quickly fueled speculation about a romance with the Italian. Even more so when, on Jimmy Kimmel's Late Show, Brooks was asked directly about Sinner. She didn't confirm it, but she didn't deny it either, limiting herself to answering with a nervous smile, "You're hot." With that phrase, suspicion of a love triangle was set. But who really is Brooks Nader and why does she draw so much attention? Born in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, in 1997, she is the eldest of 4 sisters. Her breakthrough came in 2019, when she won Sports Illustrated's Swim Search contest. Since then, her career has only grown. By 2023 she was already on the cover of the prestigious swimsuit edition alongside Megan Fox, Martha Stewart, and Kim Petras, establishing herself as a regular figure on red carpets and international campaigns. Beyond fashion, Brooks has also made headlines for her love life. She was married to William Hare, a publicist 11 years her senior. The marriage lasted 4 years and ended in divorce in 2022. Far from hiding, she turned the end of that stage into a personal symbol. She bought herself a divorce ring to celebrate her new life and told People magazine about it. Her words were clear: why should the guys have all the fun? Women deserve to buy themselves something fabulous just because. Then came a brief romance with Tom Brady, the NFL legend, and later another with Prince Constantine of Greece, with whom she even attended the wedding of former Miss Universe Olivia Culpo. But none of those relationships lasted. In 2024, Brooks participated in Dancing with the Stars, where she met Russian dancer Gleb Savchenko. The relationship seemed solid until, months later, it all ended in scandal. She accused him of being unfaithful after finding compromising messages on his phone. Gleb denied it, but the controversy was already unstoppable. Now, her name is linked with none other than Carlos Alcaraz and, at the same time, with Jannik Sinner. A rumor that mixes sports with romance, and that inevitably adds tension to the most important rivalry in tennis today. For now, neither Alcaraz nor Sinner have made any statements on the matter. Both prefer to focus on what they do best, winning matches and lifting trophies. But the truth is that Brooks Nader has become an unexpected figure in this story, adding an extra ingredient of controversy to a rivalry that was already thrilling. Alcaraz and the rivalry with Sinner: I see you more than my family. Thus, with jokes and smiles, the Merchant summed up the intensity of a duel that has already marked an era. Because beyond titles and statistics, what Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner are building is a rivalry reminiscent of the greatest in tennis history. Carlos Alcaraz has just lifted his 6th Grand Slam title after defeating Jannik Sinner in the US Open final. And he did so, once again, against the man who has become his greatest adversary, Jannik Sinner. 5 finals so far this season, 15 head-to-head clashes in total, and a shared feeling among all. This matchup is no longer just a sporting rivalry, but a story that will define an entire generation. As soon as the match ended, Alcaraz sought out his team, embraced them, and sent a clear message: my successes are yours. Thank you for your work both on and off the court. The Merchant also didn't forget those who couldn't be in New York, such as his mother Virginia and his younger brothers Jamie and Sergio. And, with laughter, he dropped a phrase that went viral worldwide: I see you more than my family, he told Sinner, aware of how often their paths cross. The Spaniard also explained how he lived through the decisive moment. He confessed that, when serving for the title, the 2022 final against Casper Ruud came to his mind, the one that gave him his first US Open and took him straight to world number 1. I was tense before it began, but once I stepped on the court I felt like it was just another match, he declared to Movistar Plus. Words that reflect the maturity of a player who, at just 22, is already used to the biggest stages. But while Alcaraz enjoys his triumph, respected voices in tennis are already analyzing what this rivalry means for the sport. One of them is Patrick Mouratoglou, former coach of Serena Williams and Naomi Osaka. In statements to The Guardian, the French coach compared the situation to the golden era of Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal. It's exactly the same situation. Alcaraz and Sinner are on another planet. The rest of the tour sees them as untouchable. Mouratoglou recalled how Novak Djokovic broke into a scene dominated by Federer and Nadal. When everyone thought it was impossible to beat them, the Serb not only managed it but ended up becoming the greatest of all time. According to the coach, the key now isn't talent, since there is plenty of it in the ATP, but mentality. Everyone says they want to be number 1. But my first question is always, what's your plan? How much do you really believe in it? He explained. The problem for the rest of the circuit is that both Alcaraz and Sinner have raised the level of demand to a point where they seem unreachable. The Spaniard, with his explosive, creative, and resourceful tennis. The Italian, with his consistency, power, and coolness. 2 different styles, but equally effective, that have overshadowed players like Daniil Medvedev, Alexander Zverev, or Stefanos Tsitsipas, unable to keep up in best-of-5 set matches. The 2025 season has been the clearest proof of this dominance. Between them, they have shared all the Grand Slam titles. Sinner won the Australian Open and Wimbledon, while Alcaraz took Roland Garros and the US Open. A hegemony that threatens to last for years, unless a new contender dares to challenge the impossible. Carlos Alcaraz surprises with a radical new look after winning the US Open. The Spanish tennis player, 22, has left everyone speechless by showing a very different image from the one we were used to. Carlos Alcaraz continues with the celebrations after winning the US Open for the second time. Hours after the exclusive New York party in which he was surrounded by countless well-known faces, the Spanish tennis player, 22, has shocked everyone by sharing images of his new change of look. Alcaraz wanted to celebrate his latest triumph by taking a step further in the transformation he began a few weeks ago when he appeared with a shaved head.